Hello everyone and welcome to the second match of the second freestyle tournament. It is Roulette Freestyle Remix, still the first day of the event. We've just finished up with the opener between Linux Penguin and Joker J, and still of course plenty of questions to be answered about the format and how does it work in roulette. We will obviously get back into that, but Kevin very nicely talked about the rules and the features of this tournament, but of course, we will still go over a couple of them as we enter more maps, and hopefully up to 5 or 6 rather, because these players can definitely make these matches long. This is probably the most anticipated round 1 match. I was just looking at the bracket very quickly, and Dani versus Phanium, probably the two best roulette players currently, or at the very least two of the best. So seeing one of them being eliminated will definitely be a sad moment for this tournament, but it's how these shorter single elimination tournaments go. Of course, 2-week event started today on the 16th of January 2023 and will end next Sunday on the 29th. I actually missed most of the first match because I had other business to attend to, so I will probably just repeat the most basic stuff, which is probably obvious for everyone else. The maps are determined randomly, and we will see it as they appear after each map. The first one was chosen to be Colorado, so there are no picks, no bans. The picks are related to the conditions, and half of the conditions are curated by the one player and half of them by the other, and here we can see it in action. I think this is the first non-2-target map of the tournament. So now we can read out the 4 conditions, and these are freestyle format. You don't see any targets here. Next map, Militia Elite, Cleaver, Militia Spec Ops, Fiber Wire Pointman, and Explosive Weapons Scarecrow are the 4 kills to do. And I can't hear any game audio because I had them turned off. That's a very obvious reason for that. Now we can hear Phanium at least, who's the first one to join, and not to join, but to load into the map. Dani shortly behind 2 of the quickest planners as well, but Phanium in particular is a beast at that. So 45 seconds have passed from this match, and they are both starting the actual infiltration. Now it would be nice to know who is green and who's purple. I think the green is next to the 1, so then it would be the 1 player and pick the next step, the Cleaver, and the 2 disguises on the other side, Pointman and Scarecrow. Yeah, I mean, we are just all figuring it out as we go, Yanni. Who's our match admin here? Thank you in advance for all the help that you do. And obviously we can see the 1 free guess, next map Elite. That is really very much a freebie, and you can do it anywhere. Explosive Weapon Scarecrow also not too hard. And Phanium had used the breaching charge on Penelope and can already detonate it. Ezra has already been eliminated. That was next map Elite for Phanium as well as Dani. The tricky thing is that Dani is like 15 seconds behind, and that's mostly because of the planning, not the loading or any other action, so it's going to be very interesting to see. Also, I guess it's yeah, you're too smart, but yeah, the background colors do indicate that the left-hand player will be player number 1 and will be associated with the green colors. And I said there was more green on a previous version of the overlay, but that was because I think it had the map above their names, but there are of course no picks, no bans anymore. So after some reading lessons on the overlay, Dani gets a really close encounter with the Pointman. I think that's the Spec Ops actually. No, that was the Pointman, apologies. And I think probably always a it's scary part for an admin to figure out whether it's the Pointman or the only important Spec Ops for Colorado, but Dani now has the disguise, and I assume the fiber wire has been already picked up from some other place. It would be a nice hidden stash that Dani just went past, but It doesn't need to pick up anything anymore and can do the Maya isolation. Obviously same for Phanium, who now has 2 kills down thanks to the quick Scarecrow isolation, and that's the one difference between the two so far. Phanium is looking for the same live kill here as Dani. Both are the point man. But Phanium gets into combat by, I think, outside guards? There was an exclamation point from the slurry pit guards, but nothing orange. And no one was at the perimeter. So that's not the most fair of rips for Phanium. Putting Dani inadvertently in a huge lead, 3 minutes and 2 of the 4 easy kills. Not by now. That is very much a Haven moment, and might as well from someone from another state, so that murder, which would make sense in real life, but not in this game. So last Phanium with the restart. And I think Dani's last big challenge here is clearing out this room, because Cleaver and Spec Ups won't be difficult to get. Luckily Dani doesn't do too much trouble while crouching and getting ready for the KOs, and those are the 3 knockouts down. Then he can go get the Cleaver if he hadn't already. Now he has the Cleaver and can go back for the Spec Ops. We've seen Dani have a tiny bit of issue trying to get the appointment disguise, but that basically means that there's only one NPC remaining in the barracks. So it won't be any trouble for Dani to get the kill at around the 4.5 minute mark, 4:45. Go back for the Scarecrow, detonate the Breacher, and you're out. It's I was actually thinking that it would be the most obnoxious and difficult spins curated for each other, but I think the first match, and especially this Colorado, was kind of the opposite end. It's a very lenient and forgiving spin with just 1 live kill. I mean, Phanium did try to spice it up a little with a 5-wire condition, but there's not an awful lot you can do to make this kill hard for yourself rather. Phanium will be catching up nicely, and I would assume that this would be the point where Phanium exits, so Phanium would have the better in-game time, but that 1 rip pretty much costing him this opening map of the match. Has done it with the detonation, and if he can change back into the non-trespassing disguise, which he does, then I think there's nothing between Dani and winning the first map of his first round game. Yep, that's GG Dani on the first map. Of course, it's first to 6, which means 3 maps to win. Gets a bit complicated with the map ties if neither players finish in 45 minutes, but if... Well, I guess I won't try to jinx it or reverse jinx it, but if the random conditions rarely give players trouble anymore, then I don't know if you can curate anything too hard for yourself. But that's what this tournament will be about, and I'm sure Phanium won't be too happy about this combat. He literally does the same thing, and the minimap is as empty as it gets. Tough luck for the American. Next map is Bangkok. 11 minutes past the hour. I think Yanni hopes that it's 11 past the hour. Of course, the players could gatekeep it a little by thinking about the conditions for too long, but I assume they can come up with the 1 kill and the 1 disguise, which will be opposite targets fairly quickly. That's nice to hear. They are fast enough. There's Yanni already confirming. Mostly because of the map 1 experience, but these are of course veterans. They know what to do, they know what they like, and apparently Bangkok is not the map for them. it's a good filler for the break for Yanni, I guess. For the caster, it doesn't become any easier to feel the break between the maps, but just under 3 minutes, and we can go to the second map, and Dani already in the map. And he's a big advocate for the cake lure, the cake topper lure. You just put the number 27 into the cake, of course, where you start as recording crew, or I guess the room next door, and that brings Jordan down and eventually isolated. And I'm just wondering what kind of kills / disguises you can do there to ensure to hopefully at least get something good for Jordan. Of course, the kill can be done on anyone, because Consume Poison is working perfectly there, but same thing for Ken with the taste tested food. So I guess we'll have to see. Dani might just think or pick something simple there. In a minute 40, we'll find out. And I wasn't looking at Phanium. Now he's changing disguises, but I was thinking if that's any SASO route. Yeah, sadly, Linux has been eliminated, but his legacy of picking the fall kill and the chef disguise or the cook disguise or anything that's closest to making food will probably remain for at least the remainder of this tournament. That's a nice addition that you had started in this first match. I do wonder if any trends / patterns we can find out throughout the maps, or will they be mostly just random? With Rivals Pro, of course, you could find out that some players just like to ban items that are just ridiculous and never be used. Played against Roki, I think, who banned the fish, the Okinawan tonfa, and I think one more item, or that was maybe his other match, but I don't think it will get that out of the way, because it's a kill condition that you have to do yourself as well as the opponent. But I am very much looking forward to see how this Bangkok spin transpires. Hopefully it's not the easiest one. They now have warmed up with an easy Colorado spin, and number 2 will be coming up right now. Consume Poison as as the undefined disguise. And next step ensued. Let's see the reactions. Nothing from anyone yet. Phanium has loaded in and has asking, yeah, spin is bugged. Now Dani has acknowledged this as well. I was so ready for it, and now the kitchen staff shows. And we will go for another spin. Well, that was funny. But ultimately we... See, I have no idea what to do, because there's the admin, there's Mando, who's also guiding the players there, and the spin won't be changed, of course. Consume Poison kitchen staff is the one kill, and next step in the suit is the other. And I think the at least the extra minute of delay was nice there to reset the players, and they will now load it at the same time. Dani with a slight advantage that he was in the planning screen. And Phanium had to replan really quickly, but I mean, it's equal opportunities, equal showcase of the spin, so no one has the advantage or the disadvantage. Consume Poison kitchen staff. Aha, now I can see the first strategies here, because Consume Poison kitchen staff, especially the Consume Poison kill, we can see for Dani, it would have been perfect for the cake topper kill. And then next snap or anything quick for Ken. But Phanium countered it very nicely. I assume it was intentional to pick the suit there, because that's probably the only disguise Dani isn't as familiar with. At least that's the only disguise where you can't do the whole cake topper shenanigans. But of course, this won't be a different or a difficult spin regardless. Dani with the peekaboo there at around, I guess, 59 to 50, 58 to 59 seconds. Phanium same, they're just a couple seconds behind in real time. They are luring Jordan to different directions, and Dani's way is quicker, but I guess you also have the troubles of potentially not seeing, potentially ripping to the tech crew or the bodyguards seeing Jordan where Phanium is right now, but that wasn't the case for either of them, and then he keeps his 15-second or so lead. And it is now about getting that kitchen staff and poisoning the second plate from the right for that second cycle consume poison kill. I guess we don't have to imagine it right now. Yanni with the comment that we have to imagine consume kitchen staff, but also the suit spin. And now it's a really simple spin. Obviously not free. Phanium still has to get around the trespassing area. You have to get a disguise, which it's not the freest to get, but with some nice slurs you should be able to do that. Welcome, Sailor. And that's a tricky spot for Dani, but of course he's done it plenty of times before, and the head turns are nowhere near as bad for him to worry about that. And Dani has everything for the consume poison kill. The actual difference in this spin would be to see whether players know which plate to poison, and Phanium knows. No, neither of them. No, I guess Phanium maybe double checked, but Dani definitely went to heat maps and lost a bit of in-game time there. Now they are both at 250. I did some more pausing. Phanium is now 1 second ahead. We went the whole Hitman Bingo 2 tournament without a single photo finish. And unless Phanium rips to this disguise, which he shouldn't, and he won't, then I suppose we will have the first one. Oh, Phanium is a little bit blocked by all these kitchen staff enforcers, and the last one to dodge on Phanium's end, but they are now both in the clear, and it will be now Dani waiting things out, and it is just pivotal to not be in proximity to Ken, because whoever has a phone call loses this map. But it won't happen now. Ken is moving for both of them, and actually, I think Phanium's Ken is ahead. But we will now. This is brilliant. The one difference is about their exact position and one hotel security, but otherwise it's perfectly in sync. 407, 408, picture in picture, twice there. Elimination, same animation, and the 1 second difference, with maybe even Phanium catching up even more because he's probably not on PC. He's using, he's definitely not on PC, and he's using the phone to press down immediately, with perhaps Dani having to alt tab out. But 176,174 plays, 176,139. This is just amazing thing so far. 35 points in it. I hope someone can use Timmy the Time Bot or anything to get these down to the decimals. Not that it matters. The fact that Dani had a slightly quicker in-game time. It's all about... yeah, Phanium did lose by milliseconds in score. Oh boy. Well, at least it's first try versus first try. And Dani's PC is really quick, even compared to other PCs, and even compared to new gen consoles. And of course, new gen is really strong as well. Phanium preloaded he was coming back from a replan, and I think same for Dani. They were both going in because of that awkward spin without the second disguise. But here we have it, Joker with the exact numbers. It's 4 minutes 13 seconds and 694 playing 957. So basically it's 3600 of a second by which Dani has won the in-game time battle. But of course real time will be different, and well, I was talking about not having ties in this game, but this might just be the one moment where we will see a finish within 1 second even, because I think the margin will be 1 second, the margin of error. But this is probably the closest photo finish we've had in Providence so far, and one of the closest photo finishes ever. Of course, Roulette Rivals bringing close to 2000 matches by now, but this is definitely an interesting moment there. And Yanni with the typing already, it could be for the first player or the second player or the full result. But as things stand, I think it's 1 restart each, so if it's 1 second, I think if it's closer than 1 second, then it's a tie. If it's more than 1 second, it's a win to award it to someone. And I don't know what happens if it's exactly 1 second. I never know what happens on those margins. And there are the results. Phanium's load was for 7 seconds and Dani's for 5 seconds. But the one thing I didn't share is that Phanium was the first to press down by 1 second. So it's the 1 second lead extended by 2 more. Phanium wins Bangkok by 3 seconds, tying up the match. And of course, next map has already been decided, or I guess rolled, not during the photo finish because Yanni was busy there, but during the actual spin. Chongqing will be the first, not first, the third map, map number 3, and this guarantees that we will see at least one more, because it is first to 6, and it will take 2 map wins for either of them to get there. Yeah, just a quick double checking of the closeness of the photo finish. It is half a second per load. It's the error margin, because I guess in the end we are trying to round it to near seconds, and for anyone who has done photo finishes, if you don't do decimals, then it can get just a little bit off. That's why you have the photo finish ties. If it's closer than a certain margin, then it can really be down to not even admin error, but the way these numbers work. So 1 second would have been a tie, but it was 3, of course. And Phanium took the Bangkok spin, and I think we should have the next one in just over 2 minutes. And now, for this spin, it would be really hard to say what kind of spins would favor whom, because I really don't have either of them as people who enjoy the harder spins too much. But I don't mean to imply that they aren't good at it. It's just, I suppose since the chaos enthusiasm, there would be a certain amount of players who really enjoy when it gets double accident or something even tougher. But I think Dani and Phanium would be just players who get these spins down quickly no matter what, and that's why I kind of imagine them as fan of the shorter spins. So it might just be another easier one. Oh my, I love the behind the scenes action. Yanni had a small problem. He couldn't select any map further than Whittleton click on Ironman. But with some extra clicking, the rest will show up. But that's a funny obstacle to meet. But now the map has been found. I'm sure the kills have been suggested, or I guess curated by the players, so it will just be added right now, and we will figure this one out in 22 seconds. This is a really sharp match so far, with I suppose the only rip being Phanium's indescribable wall hack 3 minutes into Colorado. Otherwise they were both flawless. Phanium with probably 5-minute-ish Colorado failed there. Dani finishing it in 6-ish minutes. I can't remember the ties. And of course we've had the really close and really exciting Bangkok, but we might have a really close and really exciting chunking here with Pistol as the perfect test subject for one target and Fall as researcher for the other. It's missing the 2 from one condition, but pretty sure that it wouldn't be unlike Dani to suggest Pistol researcher, and perfect test subject's Fall is not too difficult either. So it is a speedrunny spin. Dani starting with the test subject and Phanium shooting the drone really quickly. I missed if Dani had done the same, but he had the opportunity from block guard start. It's nothing that you don't have to do that. It helps in some spins and it doesn't in others. Phanium now with deprivation chamber isolation. Dani is there quicker, or rather when he went for the perfect test subject he went for the he triggered the proxy conversation, so there's Hush now finishing at the 1-minute mark. And then he still needs these 3 KOs, and hopefully the researcher won't turn towards... There's no researcher anymore, so he definitely won't turn towards Hush. Phanium gets the 4 kill, right? Yeah, and now goes with perfect test subject, was just a bit confused there. And there's Dani getting the Hush kill as well for researcher, and it's just a really straightforward imaging kill to go. With Phanium very importantly shooting the drone, I want to say earlier, but I guess we will now figure out that indeed Dani didn't shoot a drone, but this is the good secondary timing, because Dani now never stopping, he could catch Imogen at the bottom of the stairs in front of the data core, which would be also a really quick isolation, but I'm not sure how it fares against Phanium's insta drone. This could rip Phanium sometimes, not this time around. It was hidden enough. That was a loud opening of the door, but Phanium still has 2 darts there. And if the second one hits Vincent disregard, then I don't imagine Phanium will have everything wrong there. Dani is closer to an exit and he can also get a kill there. It's a long animation. Phanium waits it out very nicely, and now it's a rush to the finish. Dani is worried about one more NPC, but we'll get the 2 kills there. Not even time to KO these. Gets the tier 3 disguise, but it's a long animation to get there. Dani can only press down now. And I think this one is also Phanium's. Not a 1 second lead, but rather 5 or 6. 235 plays 245 feels like such a big difference after Bangkok, but it was just 2 very nicely optimized runs with the one difference. Of course, the main difference is shooting the drone at different times, but Dani could have still finished earlier if he had, I guess, went for the kill, which he felt was risky. He had to make sure if the dumpling cook lady isn't around, but she never is this early. which I think will be the reason why chunking goes to Phanium. Dan is, I guess, not disappointed, but with the skull emoji, you never know what emotions they are holding. He thought he had played it perfectly, and I guess virtually he did. You can always see those couple seconds of optimizations, but for a first run, Dan has been actually perfect so far today. It's just seems like that on 2 maps he's just the tiniest amounts of margins slower than Phanium. And I'm pretty sure that this will mean a Phanium win, but of course we'll have to see this one out. And first try versus first try, Jan is not sharing the difference there. Not that knowing if Phanium is leading by 4 or 7 seconds would make Dani wave the photo finish, not forfeit it, but there's a 7-second lead and another 5 for the loading time differences, because it was 12 seconds for Phanium, 7 seconds for Dani. Phanium is back by 12 seconds and takes chunking. It's not Bangkok, but you know the rest. I was actually just reading Yanni's message there. We both got chipped up by the second photo finish in a row. And that's a game crash, luckily, not internet problems for Phanium, so he should be perfectly back in time for the 4th map, which is Sapienza in 5 minutes. Now, that will be something really interesting to ponder as far as the disguises and kill methods go, and I'm curious about your suggestions. What would make an exciting, interesting spin? And I will be back in just 5 seconds until I drink a little. Mendo says the fiber virus incoming. I mean, I think so. The thing with Sapiens is, I think if one kill is odd, you can still optimize it toward Franny, and then you have a really easy Silvio kill no matter what. It would take both players to think of a devilish kill to make this a not too speedy spin. Fiberwire Roberto. If you were a player and said Fiberwire Roberto, they would be for, of course, the 2 different targets, but if it somehow goes together and it's Fiberwire as Roberto, then it's probably the toughest of the disguises. Yes. It really depends on the other target, other disguise, because you can spend a minute making sure that you have Roberto, and if the other disguise is easy, then you are still fine for either target at the 2.5 minute mark. Then he started with a body shot on the bodyguard. Could very easily be his disguise choice. And he will now be looking up some little melees, perhaps, or just posing for literally any other reason. Then he misses the briefcase. Hopefully that's nothing too important. And then he now goes to the store clerk. Could be another choice of his. And this would be really nice to see, getting it in the mind of the player in the couple of minutes leading up to the spin. The body shot on the bodyguard was definitely not a disguise grab, but then he now has an easy way to get the store clerk. I think the biggest of knowledge checks would be an Oscar Lafayette kill. Like if you're confident on Sapiens and your opponent isn't, I think that's the #1 disguise to choose, but then I guess it's also the obvious choice then, and something that players will practice a bit more. And now we come to Yoshi's suggestion, which is store clerk old X. And we see the old X already. The store clerk already. And the City Old X also has its own story. The Time Cube, third place finisher, and won the Rookie of the World Championship in October, November. He really wasn't the first ever player, but see, somehow sometimes it's just, it is what it is, but Time Cube made it popular to transport the Old X through I guess the harbor square with a couple body shots with the Seeger. It's really worth a watch. I'm not sure what the title is of that video though. Hopefully it will resurface eventually, or if we get an Old X spin, I think that would be fun to see. But so far the players were going towards easier conditions, and I imagine it will be the same here, but we will find out in 2 seconds in the potential last spin of this day. And oh my, we have something here. Fiber Wire as Store Clerk and Letter Opener as Bohemian. I mean, the Store Clerk isn't a big surprise, since we've seen Dani practice as condition just a bit before, and I guess the Letter Opener is a nice also knowledge check, because you either know that it's a free one or you start worrying about where it is, and the Letter Opener is on Franny's desk, so it will never take a single second to worry about that one. And oh my god, poor Dani with the first restart there, using a dart instead of a pistol to distract the Bohemian. And these are different starts, and Phanium is using the strat that Dani was using before the spin, but Dani doesn't think that it's now viable for this one. And we didn't talk about Phanium's picks. It's Fiber Wire and the Bohemian. I suppose the fact that Phanium sees Store Clerk, which wasn't his choice of course, he feels inclined to start with it for thinking it's the harder one. But it really seems like that it makes more sense to start with the Bohemian. But we'll have to figure this one out. Is there a world, and I think there is, where you can get both disguises? If Dani goes for the free housekeeper, or I guess it's mentioned staff rather, if you go for the mentioned staff right below, then you could probably go for Store Clerk in time, but Dani goes safe and goes for an earlier friendly kill, perhaps? And yeah, chat isn't a big fan of going Store Clerk first and Bohemian second. It might work out with Phanium. It can be routed into something nice, but for starters, Phanium will have to take care of this mention security, which I think is related to the body shots there. As for Dani, he's right here at 135, at least one chunk, and this is the Letter Opener kill. First the KO, check the minimap. If the card is coming, he doesn't. It's really big for Dani, checking the condition again, I guess. And there's the Letter Opener kill. He can now go for Store Clerk. Feels like a significant lead for Dani now, as Phanium approaches Franny at a different timing, but still with a chunk, and decides to wait out those 15 seconds for the free isolation. It's probably a good choice, because otherwise you are wasting one chunk, and that chunk can go handy in different parts of the spin, for example with the Silvio isolation. But for the first time, this is different kills on the same target. And we will now have to see if Phanium can catch up with a non-life kill, because this will allow Phanium to leave Silvio KO'd. Timing is going to be just a bit late for that, but Phanium could shoot the banner right now if he wanted. Oh, he's a bit early. I was missing something, I guess. At 250 should be a bit too late, I thought. And there's 2 KOs. And the last one, Silvio on lockdown, but no problems there. I think this could be the difference there. I mean, this will be the map deciding choice. If Dani has to wait a lot for Silvio to come back, then I was gonna say that then Phanium is ahead, but it's such a long trip for Phanium to get to the Bohemian. Yeah, I guess if it was a different target, or a different disguise rather, close to the mansion, even a waiter, then it would be closer to say, but Dani will shoot that panel as soon as he wants. He needs to not get caught by the chef for one, and for the second guard, the one who's roaming. But Dani gets past both of them and shoots the panel as soon as possible, and now comes an agonizing wait, which I think would be great for Phanium if the disguise was closer to the mansion, but that's the problem with starting Store Clerk and going Bohemian next. This is why Dani's choice was so nice. Also, there was an early message by Yanini. Both players picked polling object first, so we had a little delay until they went for alternative choices. No GRB for Dani, and it's only the virus remaining. Dani doesn't have a tactical, and I couldn't see the inventory if he had an EMP. And I still couldn't see it. Will he? Joker says he has the pistol snipe. But okay, that was a suggestion to pistol snipe. Dani changes into the non-trespassing biolab security, and with the pistol in hand, Dani's not risking the shot, and there would be spins where you lose the spin to taking the extra 30 seconds there, but Dani's 530 will be more than enough to save this to map number 5. It's a lot of shots there. No delayed hunted, no insta-hunted, and Phanium is just too far away from the mansion. Dani takes his second map, takes the 4th map on this match, and the second game of the tournament will go to a unofficial decider. And Joker's loving this one. Joker famously / infamously lost I think the whole match because of stalactite glitch. Not glitch, but getting hunted by during shooting the stalactite, and this seems to be the only person ever for this to happen to, but no victim of the stalactite claim today, and Phanium will be at least a minute out compared to Dani's 5-8. No photo finish after 2 in a row. And they're going to Mendoza, and this is another map which people love, especially Dani, judging by the first reaction. And I guess, yeah, it seems like it will all be decided in Mendoza, unless we see another photo finish, but it has to go really close. Well. I'm just racking my brain to trying to come up favorite for this map, but I just have to look up their RR stats for lack of a better idea. Phanium's Mendoza is towards the second half of his win rate, 3 won from 5 played, that's 60%. And it's even lower for Dani. It's number 17 for the world champion. 6 played, 6 won from 10 played. That's also 60%. That's funny. So they have identical win rates. Dani with twice as much experience. But Dani is not the one who's anticipating this map very heavily. No reaction from Phanium. And I'm just really hoping that either of them will load into the map. I'm rooting for Dani to at least do that, so that we can figure something out from their picks. Mando, I have to agree, this is, I mean, two great matches, especially this one. I mean, I've really enjoyed Joker versus Linux, but Dani versus Phanium, which could really be the final, is being played like the final with so few rips across the board. Dani complains that he can't remember anything. I think he had one rip in 4 maps. Won 2 maps convincingly and lost 2 photo finishes by around 10 seconds. He is pretty much in this one. Phanium going with how should I say it? I guess the standard. It's as standard as it gets. Phanium very likely didn't pick a suit. And Dani is hoping to capitalize on the Asado start. So I think that's the one disguise we know already. No items in either of their loadouts, which could be a lethal melee pick. I get scared for Phanium a little. Also, he will get a little refresh there, just to... I guess both will get a little refresh. Because it felt like Phanium was still going into some planning when Dani was already in, so let's not... Joker asking the important questions. They would all be tied 9th in the single elimination bracket. But we will have to see who will be another 9th place finisher. One of the best matches, probably of the whole tournament, going to be blown on the first day, but wow, they have gone a bit far with this one. Let's see how this is going to go. As pistol elimination, one of the new conditions, one of the freestyle specific conditions, as head of security for one target, and screwdriver, but melee condition as the Asado chef. So this will also turn their eyes towards the dining area. Which Dani did expect, but still plans for longer. Emetic gas grenade is important for tomorrow, and it's just such an interesting question. Which target do you prioritize? Because you would think that... I think Phanium is going for the closest screwdriver, but this would be a chest passing area, so have to be smart with the bullet distractions. I'm just holding my breath to see this screwdriver pick up, and it will be with 2 KOs. And Dani already clearing out this place. I think that was a really early head of security seeker. Or I guess that was what I was hoping for, to maybe optimize it a little. Easy for me to say. I probably, my first try would be 9 minutes. That's being optimistic, and Dani going for really ballsy shots there. And what a first KO there, especially the second one from cover. They both successfully managed one of the tricky parts. I don't know if this was the trickier part, because so far they've only gone and taken a screwdriver. Not a single kill has been made, not a single disguise has been acquired, but they have been delivering so far. Phanium with a really interesting ice baller shot. It works out for him, and well, the thing with the screwdriver melee, and in any melee for that matter, is that you can do it from any of the sides. Ooh, this is working out nicely for Phanium. Where will Valentina go? Will she turn around? No, she will go all the way down, but Phanium is smart to wait this one out, because she might realize that her husband is dead, like physically, psychically. And it's a good idea to hide her. Dani is a bit too late for the same though. So I don't know how this one be salvaged. Oh, I was completely wrong there because Dani went through. I'm not even sure which trigger. I think the head of security trigger delayed down long enough that he was still only coming up there. Mando being the Hitman NPC, having the same sensations as these NPCs. That's nice to hear. That's not weird at all. Better get that checked out a little. But back to the, I guess, the crucial part of this spin and of course the whole match. Making Tamara sick and also dealing with the head of security, and this is why the Seeker and its 2 shots would be so important. Phanium has this corner eyed out and probably a shot in her leg, but you can just see the whooshes there. I mean, I trust Phanium that this is a good spot, but it's going to be awfully tight. Phanium hits it, and Dan is going for a wallbang. I wonder who will be hit by that. It will be Tamara, it will be Diana. Hopefully only the 2 of them. I mean, I would be surprised if it's only Tamara. It has to be both of them. Yeah, Phanium with a really impressive shot there. The whole match would have been down the drain if that didn't hit. In the meantime, I think we've seen the head of security made sick as well. And all that's left is a pistol elimination kill. And the pistol is had by the wicked smart bodyguard. This is probably the one main deviation though. Dan is frustrated because the head of security is now on his cycle. He's in or near the barrel room. This might take a while for him to salvage Phanium. I think it's 2 simple knockouts to do. This will be maybe a few more, but Phanium has the correct disguise, and if he doesn't want to, doesn't have to deal with the last bodyguard. The mirrors are troublesome, but not that bad. And we can see Dani just cannot do anything with the head of security. And I think that is it. That's the one difference of this map. Of course, a slight deviation between both of them. But I think this will give Phanium the win, but it won't be Tango exit because Diana is nowhere near. And I think it will be for, not the first time, but for one of the first times, the new default exit, the car exit, the Sasso speedrun exit be used. But for what a spin and what a match to win by Phanium. Dani has made the head of security sick, but it's a little too late rather. Because by now Tamara is not sick anymore. More frustration there, and Phanium clutches it out. The man is not famous for first round performances, but he needed to win these 3 maps, and against probably the toughest round-on opponent there is, he did manage to win this one, and the 2-time winter event winner. He's participated in 2 events and won both of them. Can more than likely make a deep run in this one as well. By the way, the one event that Phanium didn't play, that was won by DaniButa. So these were the most successful players of the last couple of months of our community events. And of course, Dani winning Roulette Rivals World Championship, Phanium winning the Sasso Roulette by Chromax. This was a really entertaining match, as we were hoping for, as we were expecting. But it must come to an end. And I want to just make sure tournament is ready for me to show the new scene. I think that it deserves to have his run shown if he goes all the way there, of course. This was the difference after 5 maps. 2 maps each, and then this difference about a minute and a half. Just so close, just so impressive. Oh no, poor Diana. I suppose we can go to the next scene then. And I still have my microphone here, so that's promising. And what you don't see here is a refreshed bracket. And now we have the 2 results in tournament. First with Joker J advancing, and now Phanium in round 2. Joker J will play either 420 or Giannini, and Phanium will face Blythe or Crudy. It's more talent and more experience in there. Going to be a really tough bottom half of the bracket. And those two, Phanium and Joker, could still meet in round 3. That would be the semifinals, and I think it's nothing short of a grudge match at this point, but if that happens for what must be the 22nd time, curious to see how that one goes. Console sweep incoming, says Joker J. I suppose that would require a console player from the top half, but I'm pretty sure that Yoshi, Mika, Observer, PG, Chrome, myself are definitely PC, and Kicks might be as well, so at least one PVC player is confirmed from the top half, but will be a nice final, I'm sure, next Sunday. As far as the schedule goes, so this is not the upcoming matches tab. We'll have to just adjust some links there. This is the matches that have been scheduled, just period. And of course, we see the 2 that are finished. The one that should be upcoming, and I think have gone through a second reschedule. I was reading something quickly there by Observer. It won't happen now, it won't happen in half an hour, but keep an eye out on that. And then one more match tomorrow at 11 p.m. So 1 day and 1 hour from now, that will be PG's debut match against Chromex. Another very hype round 1 match, of course. But yeah, no more scenes to show. This is the end of the match, and 5 maps of great plays from 2 of the best players at this hour. Still will only take 1 hour. That's I guess roulette for you, and the first tries that they have provided. Would like to thank Yanni for winning this match, everyone for watching. GG's to both Dani and Phanium for this match, and of course good luck to Phanium in the future rounds, but also would like to thank Crudy and Mendo for coming up with this very exciting and interesting tournament idea, and I'm really curious to see where we will end up after these 2 weeks with these potential 15 exciting matches. Hope to see you for the rest of them. Have a nice evening, everyone. Bye.